Later, after the War of Independence against British rule and the Civil War that followed it, Ireland didn't witness a lot of the things, the traditional forms of criminal justice that we saw elsewhere in the world. Ireland didn't follow. So one of them would be, say, the rehabilitative ideal that characterized other parts of the West in the early 20th century. Cummins and O'Donnell in their book say that this never took off in Ireland, largely because, again, this notion of the divided society and so forth. It was impossible to rehabilitate people if the very society into which they're being reintegrated itself was fundamentally divided. And then, of course, the most important difference between Ireland and the UK was the huge number of political leaders, including most of the ministers of justice who served in the mid-20th century, up until at least the 1960s, who themselves had been incarcerated for war activities against the British. And one of these, Kevin O'Higgins, was the Minister for Justice from 1922 to 1927 in Ireland. He argued that I think everyone here would agree that we should aim at improvement and reform of the existing prison system. There is not a member of this present government, this is the earliest government in Ireland, this present government who has not been in jail. We have had the benefit of personal experience and personal study of these problems, and although we never discussed them amongst ourselves, I think we would be unanimous in the view that a change and reform would be desirable. Personally, I can conceive nothing more brutalizing, nothing more calculated to make a man a rather dangerous member of society than the existing system. It's remarkable, this quote, the disconnect between this analysis here and then the move to reform rather than abolition. And it's a great shame that choice was made for reform and not abolition, as you'll hear from the next speaker, that reform never came to the Irish prison service. It certainly tinkered around at the edges for 100 years, but the system is now creaked and grown its way to nearly double the population, over 4,000 prisoners, nearly double the population of what it was just 10, 15 years ago, and some key resignations of progressive governors at the top of that system in recent years, recent weeks, emphasizes how Phil's point about just what a state that system is in. Our situation in the north is far worse. As Phil mentioned, this is a huge opportunity at the moment, so the timing couldn't be better for all of you here. We've got a devolved criminal justice system supposedly unrolling in Northern Ireland for the first time in 38 years, and it's really the first time ever that we, in theory, would have a system that's meant to be equally responsive to both communities, to all communities here in Northern Ireland. The prison service is in crisis. We have our biggest prison, the Gallery prison, was recently declared one of the worst jails in the United Kingdom. We had firing of the governor there. A new governor was appointed. The new governor left in a matter of months for a variety of reasons, but one of which was the place was simply unmanageable. And most recently, we've had a resignation at the helm, the very helm at the top of the Northern Irish Prison Service. So what we have here is a kind of perfect storm, and I think it's a moment perfectly well timed to have all of you here and have this discussion around prison abolition. So thanks very much for